All right, welcome everybody to some more Diddy Kong Racing Time Trials Tournament. Tonight's match is between tridenttail and AtomicOtaku. Very excited to be commentating it. And along with me on commentary, I have...
Pigs. Hi.
This should be a very fun match to watch. Going over some of the rules really quickly. Best of 13 races, just like the Mario Kart Double Dash time trial tournaments. For this, however, we'll be requiring each match to play at least 3 first rounds in each vehicle. So that means 3 tracks must be played in car, 3 tracks must be played in hovercraft, and 3 tracks must be played in plane. After that first 9 is done, the last 4 are freebies. So loser gets to pick the next track, and it looks like AtomicOtaku has won the coin flip and decided to pick the first track. So Trident got to ban Treasure Caves, so we won't be seeing Treasure Caves tonight.
That's a good ban, honestly. No one likes that track.
It's a tough one, that's for sure.
Honestly, I'm pretty excited to see AtomicOtaku since the last time I seen him play this game was in the All Trophy Races tournament last year. So
yeah, it's certainly been a while for him. I don't know exactly how much he's run the game. I know he's done a couple of the RTA categories for sure, like all trophy races. But I think he's pretty new to the time trial scene. While meanwhile, Trident is a little bit more on the veteran side.
yeah, I'm excited to see how Atomic plays.
Looks like our first track is going to be Jungle Falls Car. So this is the first of the mandatory 3 car tracks. And this is a really popular track to start things off.
It's definitely, in my opinion, one of the most satisfying tracks until you bonk. That just sums it up for me.
Yeah, for sure. And in the car vehicle in particular, it's really, really easy to bonk. Since a lot of your speed on this track actually relies on the terrain sending you kind of in the right direction. So you'll see them hitting the zipper up and coming and hitting the terrain like that to fling them into the mouth of the skeleton and hit the zipper there. So the more speed they can preserve as they reach that zipper, the faster their time's going to end up being.
And one thing it looks like is Trident is opting to use teeny weenies while AtomicOtaku is not, which teeny weenies is the cheat code to make characters small, and is something we do allow in time trial.
Looks like Trident finished up in the 41 range, and Atomic almost getting out without any bonk. So pretty close there up until the end. And 49 for Atomic. So Trident takes the first round, which means Atomic gets to pick the next track once again. And going back to what Peegs has said, it's interesting to see Trident using teeny weenies tonight, because in his match last night he was not using teeny weenies. So I wonder if maybe he was just practicing with teeny weenies on and decided he'd rather stick with that, or I don't know. It's interesting.
I'm not sure, like, if teeny weenies actually makes the character hitboxes bigger or smaller. I mean, well, definitely not bigger, that's Arnold, but like, other people say it doesn't, some do. It feels like something that's anecdotal to me.
It looks like our next track is going to be Snowball Valley Hover, so we get to see our very first hover track. This is typically a car track. That's usually the vanilla version of this, so cool to see us expanding a little bit into some less common tracks. As far as teeny weenies goes, it is a cheat code. It's one of the magic codes in Diddy Kong Racing. And typically speaking, if you enter time trials mode with cheats on, it doesn't allow any of those. One of the only ones it does allow is teeny weenie. so it doesn't ban that outright. So we do allow you to use teeny weenies, and it has been proven that although it makes your character model smaller, your actual hitbox isn't smaller. But I will agree with you. It's pretty anecdotal in that it doesn't necessarily feel. It feels different than using just regular TT like we see Atomic using. It does make it feel like you're playing the game in a different way.
Kind of like a placebo. Snowball Valley, however, it's not too different from Co, I would say, but one thing that is different is the snowballs. And like in Co, the snowballs can absolutely destroy you, but however, they can actually use to be in your benefit. As odd as that sounds.
Yeah, it's an interesting little difference between the two vehicles. Car will flatten you like a pancake, and you lose like a couple seconds to it, go very slow. But if you get hit by the snowballs in Hover, it'll actually fling you forward. Trident finishing up with a 52:30, a great one-try time. And Atomic not too shortly after that, also under 1 minute at 59:40.
Not too bad.
Not at all. So that's another win for Trident. Atomic is going to pick once again. Excited to see what he picks.
And looks like we are going to Ancient Lake Plain.
Awesome. So we saw this pick in last night's match as well. This is actually, since Plane is required to be played in at least this first set of 3, it's by far the most consistent plane track in the game. Most other tracks where you get to fly the plane are pretty treacherous, and bonking into something at full speed in plane loses you about 5 seconds on the track. So there's not too many obstacles to look out for here in Ancient Lake. So it's fun to see. This is actually one of the fastest non-shortcut tracks as well, Ancient Lake Plain, with the world record being a high 30 seconds.
Yeah, and getting the boost just right and like never losing speed, the most satisfying thing in the world. Which is, I'm going to be biased and talk about how much I love playing for that.
It's a really exciting vehicle. Most plane tracks, you will never see people pushing the A button, as it's actually much, much slower than doing the crazy barrel rolls that they're doing right now. And controlling those barrel rolls and predicting where they're gonna set you up is really difficult. Trident with a 36, awesome time.
And that's a PB. Wow.
I don't know if that's actually a PB. I think this is his Japanese cartridge. I think he does most of his time trials on his US cart. So.
Oh, so you're saying this is his shortcut cart?
I think so. Yeah.
No.
I think this is the.
I'll go look at what his times are. So.
Trident using the GSA initials. Wonderful.
Go. GSA rep. Whale Bay Hover.
Whale Bay Hover. So this is an interesting pick from a strategic standpoint. Naturally, once a course has been picked in this round of 13 races, it can't be played anymore at all. So if you, for instance, don't want to do Ancient Lake Plain today, you could pick Ancient Lake Car and take that pick away from your opponent later on. So picking a track like Whale Bay, there's not too much to gain from it, since Hover Car is actually the only it's the only vehicle that you can use on this track. It's the only one you can use, but it's likely that Atomic feels much more comfortable on this track and went with this for that reason.
Did Did you just call it hovercraft?
Yeah, I did. Hovercar, hovercraft. Does it say hovercraft like in the menu?
Yes,
I
it's
never-
hovercraft. That is the official name, Sweeney.
Oh well.
Get it together. How could you be one of the greatest players and call it hovercraft? Come on,
Well,
man.
the whole game's in Japanese, so I never actually get to see the word hovercraft or hovercar, so that's definitely my fault. Anywho,
Okay.
one of the trickier spots on this track is the whale we just saw Trident jump on top of. Can be very, very hard to control. Looks like he's ending up with a 53 here. Very clean time, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, I believe you when this is not his actual PB, because I know he definitely has something better than a 53. But 53 still is pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good time. Especially in one tries. Diddy Kong Racing is an exceptionally unpredictable and inconsistent game. So to see people getting some awesome times in just one tries is great. Makes for some awesome competition. So Trident's now sitting at 4-0, and we're gonna play some Star City Car next. It's like we're going down to Future Funland. A lot of these tracks are much more technical than some of the early ones, so it's this will be exciting to see.
I'm glad he didn't choose Star City playing. I'm sure after my races, you would hear me complain about it endlessly. See, this track, it's pretty known for its tight turns.
Yeah, for sure. Naturally, when we see them go through the city portion, you'll get to see how difficult some of those turns can be. Oh no!
Oh,
Poor Atomic falling off the bridge and having a hard time getting back up. That's too bad.
I can't say I haven't done that. I'm pretty sure we all have done it at least once in our life, but to do it in a race. Oh.
Yeah, that's too bad. It's definitely a run killer. Yeah, the bridge is notorious on this track, and everybody still falls off it to this day. You see Trident finishing up his second lap, and that a lot of those 90-degree turns are very hard to make because naturally you want to take every corner as sharply as you can. But doing so while also preserving speed can be really hard. Atomic having a pretty clean city here, looking good.
Yeah. He said this movement after the bridge is definitely a Udima. A 26.86 lap. That's pretty good.
Yeah, looking great.
And Trident getting 118.23.
It's definitely a good one-try time. And a 136 for Atomic. So that was our 5th track. We've done 2 hover, 1 plane, and 2 car. So let's see if we see some plane coming up next year.
And looks like we got spaceport off a plane.
Sweet. Spaceport Alpha is a really interesting track since it actually has a bit of luck involved in it. There are lasers that will attempt to shoot you down, and dodging them can be pretty difficult.
Yeah, doing this on reset runs is painful enough, but on a no reset run, well, good luck. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, for sure. an interesting tidbit too. The Japanese version of this game actually has less lasers in this portion of the map than the US version. So both of them are definitely have that advantage. There's a little bit less going on, a little bit less for them to dodge. He tried in entering that area now. Atomic shortly behind. Okay, tried it taking a little bit of a safer route, kind of going underneath a lot of the lasers.
Good idea. I definitely wouldn't want to risk it in a no reset one.
Yeah, that's what's interesting about the playing times in Diddy Kong Racing are going to be much faster than one try times these. Naturally, you're taking a lot more risks when you're going for a PB. So it's interesting to see which players are going to be taking a lot of the stuff a little bit safer and which are going to be, going for gold and risking everything. One bonk can mean 5 whole seconds lost, so it's pretty detrimental to your final time.
Oh, and AtomicOtaku bonking. Just as you were talking about bonking.
That's the commentator's curse, of course. So yeah, you can see how long it takes him to start back up, to boot the plane back up and get going again. Ooh, and stuck in barrel rolls there. That's bad. Trident rounding the final corner to finish up.
That's the only downsides of playing, honestly, the sheer amount of time it takes when you make a mistake like those. Oh.
Too bad. Yeah, it's difficult too, especially in like RTA runs and stuff. It's hard to stay consistent in a lot of these really crazy movements that you have to make while barrel rolling.
Oh, bonking into the stove.
That's super easy to do. Much easier than it looked.
it is, and it's so dumb because like all the other ones you could just go right through, but no, that one you just bonk.
So that puts Trident at 6-0. Even if Trident does win this next match for the group stage, we are going to be playing all 13 races. So we will get to see many more tracks tonight.
Hey, Wallace Cove Hover. That's gonna be an interesting one.
Yeah, for sure. This is another one of those tracks where car is typically the vehicle used on it, but we're going to be seeing some hover instead. One of the more interesting things about hover for this game, the speed tech typically used in this vehicle is called snaking. So you'll see them sliding left and right as they're going straight down pathways or making turns. They're still trying to be turning at all times. And there's a couple interesting portions on this track where trying to have control over that snake and hit a pair of zippers up here on the bridge can be very difficult. I'm sure we'll see both of them bonk times.
The good thing about hover is that bonking is pretty lenient and even could be used to your advantage in some tracks. But if you bonk head on, then it's like bonking in plane. It's like the worst thing in the universe. Yeah,
for sure. When you have some good momentum going in hovercraft, pardon me once. It's easy to keep the momentum going a lot of the time, but if you run headfirst into something, all that momentum's gone. And it can be just as bad as plain bonk, depending on the situation. The car version of this track, you can go up on the hills like we see Trident doing, but doing so is much more difficult than it is in hover. Another difference for this in comparison to car, the ice that we see Atomic driving on right now would actually typically send you flying off to the side. So you can kind of cut the corner there, that whole last section, much quicker.
And it looks like Trident is about to finish with a 137.
Great time.
And the lap whacker, probably for the coat, but really good lap whacker. Oh my god. I need to tell some people to shut up real quick.
Alright, Atomic finishes with a fast lap and a 3-lap PB. 1:53.18. Awesome. So, generally speaking now, Trident has won the match, but we will be playing out all the rounds tonight to have a look at a couple other really fun tracks in this game. Let's see what our next pick is.
Sorry about that.
No worries. I think we have done 3 hover. Yep, 1 plane, 1 car left go here. So we'll see what Atomic ends up going with. And Haunted Woods Car, another vanilla track. Done with YOLO levels on high. This is a really, really exciting track to watch. Very fast-paced, but it's also really, really risky, and you can be very prone to bonking.
Yeah, especially around the turn by the second zipper. That is one of the worst turns ever.
Yeah, there's the first zipper we're gonna see on this track is very, very frustrating for pretty much everybody who runs this game. For some reason, there's something about the texture. There's a small hill right before it. See both of them trying to get it right now. Trident gets it. They both get it. All right. So every now and then, you will simply drive right over that zipper. Nothing will happen, which is a really frustrating thing because it just shows off some of the nuances of this game, some of the tiny little things. You were probably 1 pixel off of the texture there. So very interesting. Trident with a super, super clean finisher there. Atomic as well.
And both making these turns really well. Super fast and super clean.
Yeah, that was a really clean race for both of our runners here.
And
another 3-lap. Yeah.
And a flat for AtomicOtaku.
Awesome. 46.95 to 50.73. Now, if one of our players would have bonked there a single time, we would see a very different turnout. So, very interesting. And it goes to show in a one-try tournament like this, one tiny little mistake like that can lose you the round. So, on very bonk-heavy tracks or on plain tracks, those little mistakes, or even especially the big mistakes, can really come back to bite you. Oh boy!
Playing.
Here's a good one. I don't think we'll be seeing any drumstick tonight, though.
No. They could change to drumstick. I feel like a lot of people often forget that.
Yeah, for sure. And there are character changes allowed. TT, the clock, which both our runners are playing as right now, is typically the fastest, but Drumstick, the chicken, actually has faster barrel rolls than TT does. So this is typically a drumstick track, but he has... his handling is a little bit different. He feels a little bit different, so I can understand after playing TT all night why they might want to stick with TT just to make sure that their skills are a little bit more consistent.
Yeah, this track heavily relies on barrel spacing, which is something that can be difficult to master, and when you, as you see coming up in the next lap, they will not be taking that short little indent again over here. They will go, yeah, they're going around it.
Yeah, so on that first lap, you want to try and grab yourself some bananas, like we saw both of them do, or Trident do for sure. And naturally, the bananas will increase your top speed and your acceleration. So, ouch.
Oh, Trident bonking.
Yeah, there's the barrel roll for you. It's very hard to control. So. After that point, though, it's pretty tough to barrel roll through the little slit in the wall there, so instead they opt to go to the left where there's more room, more time to be barrel rolling, more time at top speed. Okay, try it and finish.
With 109, I believe it was. 109.
Yep. Whoa, 109.
And Atomic finishing with a 121.43.
Plane once again kind of taking its toll on the times of our runners. You can see Trident's last lap there was a whole 4 seconds slower than his second lap. So a lot of Plane comes down to having that perfect run, which can be really difficult to pull off.
Yeah.
Some more vanilla here.
Dark Moon Car.
Dark Moon Car. Obio and Nordic would be quite happy with that pick.
I was just about to mention Obio.
So this is a really notorious track. If you're gonna showcase how the terrain in this game treats car vehicle, this is a great track to do it on. It is very, very difficult to control yourself on this track while also going super, super fast. So we can see Atomic having that problem right off the bat. I don't think there is there's like one spot on this whole track that's actually flat, and it's by the finish line. The rest of it is all hills. You can see Trident going around this massive turn. Again, really, really tough to manage, and it's also probably one of the laggiest tracks in the game, even with the music off, which I think both runners are music off while they run this. So,
and a 33 first lap, that is very good.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's definitely going to try and take it a little bit safe, just to keep himself from running into walls, because that will lose you a gargantuan amount of time. It's also it's super easy to get shot on a lot of these stages by the ships. If your trajectory going into some of these turns is wrong, you'll lose 2 bananas for getting shot. Another interesting thing, for some reason, rubbing against the right side of those loops that we see them going down is actually faster than just taking it the normal way, just kind of letting it ride out. So they're both going to be pushing hard against the side of it to go as fast as they can.
It even looks faster. Like, I don't even know why it's a thing. I think you like get out earlier. I'm not sure.
Yeah, another interesting little quirk. And it's definitely interesting too, because a lot of the time, if your car rubs against anything in this game, you're automatically going to be losing speed. So it's not really known why rubbing against the wall on the loop does not do that. Fast lap for Atomic, looking great.
35.20 and Trident getting 2 coaches.
So we are now into the portion of the match where any track that has not yet been played can be picked for any vehicle. So we might see some more vanilla stuff, or we might see some crazier stuff. It looks like we're going to see Crescent Island Car, which is another vanilla one, but a very technical track nonetheless.
It definitely feels one of those super satisfying tracks. But it's one of those tracks where you feel like you're doing everything that someone else better than you is doing, but still managing to not be as good. At least
yeah,
for me.
it's very interesting in that respect. There's time trials in Diddy Kong Racing, and then there's balloon races, which are the individual levels among the speedrunning community. And there's some really interesting differences between the balloon race for this track and the time trial. Typically, the only balloons you'd really need to make that big of a time difference are blue balloons, which are the boosts you get. But there are no blue balloons on this track. Regardless, the way that these zippers that we see them flying down, Atomic just went off one, they behave very, very different between the balloon race and the time trials. Some of them are laggier than others. Some of them send you a lot faster than they do in time trials. Some really interesting little nuances between typical individual level times and time trials.
Man, Atomic having a rough custom island. Like last lap, he actually missed, and I say that as he misses that zipper. He missed the one he just can go over because he went over it.
Yeah, this is another one of those tracks that has some of those zippers that you can just drive straight over, which is too bad. But tried it, finished the 109, and I think that was a 119 for Atomic. That last turn there will very often grip a lot of runners up, sadly. Atomic picking his second to last track, Greenwood Car.
I feel like a lot of the reason why he's picking like vanilla tracks is because he's more of a balloon races winner and has not spent as much in time trials as he has in OTA categories.
Yeah, almost definitely. This is another very, very technical track and a very difficult one too. There's a lot of very, very sharp turns, much sharper than what we saw on Crescent Island just a while ago.
Yeah.
Making those in a sharp, quick fashion is not easy.
Yeah, oftentimes you wrong trying to make the most optimal turn, and it always is cutting it close. And the hill that they went up not too long ago, it's hard to maintain your speed on there.
Yeah, it's some interesting speed tech on a lot of those hills that we'll see. Players will typically opt to drift up hills as often as they can, and doing so is much faster than just driving straight up it.
Ooh, and trident bugging. The reason for drifting is because drifting actually increases speed.
Yeah, it definitely increases speed. It's much more controllable when you're making long, drawn-out turns. You can kind of fix your trajectory a little bit by going left and right on the control stick. That S-bend we see Trident and Atomic going through halfway through the track is very notorious for being very, very hard to get through. A 112. Pretty decent time for a one try, that's for sure. Finishing up with a 124. Atomic. Going into our last race now. See what Atomic's got in store for Trident. Fossil Canyon car. Okay. So we're going to finish up with another vanilla pick. A little bit different from the balloon race version of Fossil Canyon. The time trial version does not have any balloons on it, which means we won't be seeing the famous canyonless trick here at all. which is unfortunate because it's my favorite trick in the game, but oh well. This is a really good example, again, track where getting zippers laglessly is really, really important. If you're able to get them laglessly, you'll see yourself go much, much farther. Yeah, you see this first zipper, you'll kind of see TT jerk back into the camera, and that usually means a much, much faster zipper for the player. Trident opting to go to the right instead of doing the pond jump right away and grabbing some more bananas to get his speed up. We'll see him cutting down the lower path too, which can be kind of unforgiving. It can kind of send you bonking into stuff all the time. Now we'll see Trident get a beautiful, beautiful pond jump. Another one for Atomic too. Really great job for both of these guys. Atomic not too far behind Trident here. I think he's kind of gradually losing a little bit of distance since he's taking that top route.
Yo, sorry, my internet killed itself again.
No worries.
You know, I'm not even surprised at this point.
So Trident getting himself a really solid time of 105. And Atomic finishing strong here to finish out our match.
112.46.
So I think up and coming very soon here, we'll see Atomic and Trident both for some interviews.
Get them in then.
Hey guys.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey there.
Great job on the races. It was a lot of fun to watch.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Great job, Trident.
Same to you, man.
That was
So
fun.
we saw some PBs for Atomic there. That was awesome to watch.
Yeah, I got a couple. The PB in Greenwood Village was actually just literally the only time I've done that in time trial. So shows
Hey man,
how much
count
I've
it.
practiced.
Count it.
I'll take it.
I mean, I'd say you did pretty well for not practicing.
Yeah, I mean, I practiced some things and tried to get the fundamentals of hover and plane down mostly, but I still got a ways to go.
Yeah, things were looking really clean for you. And Plane, of course, taking a couple bonks for both players tonight. How did you guys feel about the plane tracks tonight?
Ooh.
The nicest
I don't know,
picks.
it's,
Thank you so
yeah.
much.
You're welcome. Glad I could help. I am not great with the plane today, but I was doing better in practice. But I don't know. It's my car is the only one that I feel has much of a fighting chance in this matchup in particular. But it's my plane and hover were both better than they were a week ago, per se. So I'll take that victory.
I think the most exciting one to watch was Haunted Woods car. You guys are actually only like 3.5 seconds apart on that
Oh, yeah,
one.
that
That was
was-
really, really awesome.
Yeah, that was a good
Yeah.
race. Love that one.
Yeah, that one I was actually a little worried because the track is so short, and I was just gonna go for, I wasn't gonna play it safe, and I bonk on that really that sharp turn at the end a lot, so I figured, you know, I could bonk a couple times and that'd be it. But at least I got the boost chain like once, so I could show it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely a really technical track. So did you guys have any other thoughts you wanted to share tonight?
The only thing I kind of want to say is that I feel like the picks were very, very safe tonight. Like there was nothing that really got my goat here. I think every pick that you made, I was really on board with. So
Yeah.
thank you for that.
No problem. Yeah, my comment for the picks, and you guys kind of touched on it and guessed correctly during the race, was that I'm not very practiced in time trials, and a lot of these vehicle and track combinations I haven't even touched, I think, once before. So I was picking a lot of vanilla tracks just because I'm much more experienced with all trophy races and 100% and categories in that sort of vein. So picking vanilla tracks is more my comfort zone because I'm so inexperienced with like hover on a lot of tracks and such.
Yeah, definitely very reasonable picks. Great strategy to go with since a lot of people are so much more comfortable with the vanilla ones. I know I'll be doing a little bit of that myself for sure.
Dude.
So
Great job, guys.
yeah, thank you very much for the race, and thank you all very much for watching tonight. It looks like later on there should be a Super Mario 64 race between Cartoon Buffoon and Drogi SR running 70 star. It'll be pretty exciting. And there'll be some more DKR tomorrow between Dr. Fish, who we see in chat here, and Atomic once again at 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. So make sure to tune into that. Check out some of that. So yeah, thank you guys very much for the race. Lots of fun, and thanks for everybody for watching.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
GG.
GG's, guys, and thanks for the viewers for watching, and thank you to my good friend Swino for commentating with me.
My pleasure, Pete. Have a good night, guys.
Good night.